In the previous episode, we left the Blessed Virgin Mary at the age of 12, the age when every young girl was expected to leave the temple, since Jewish law had no system of monastic life as we know it today. But Mary was no ordinary girl. From her earliest years, she had dedicated her entire life to God. This left the priests of the temple facing an important question: who would now be responsible for her care? Her father, Joachim, had passed away. Her mother, Anna, had also departed. There was no one left to take responsibility for her. According to the law, a righteous man had to be chosen to become her guardian and protector. And this is where one of the most well-known stories begins: the choosing of Joseph the Carpenter. The priests gathered one man from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. There were 12 men in all. Before entering the temple to pray, each of them laid his staff outside. Then they spent the entire night in prayer, asking God to reveal whom He Himself had chosen for this sacred responsibility. The next morning, the high priest came out and stood before the staffs. At that very moment, the sign preserved in church tradition took place. A pure white dove, bright as snow, descended from heaven and came to rest upon Joseph's staff. It then circled above the temple before ascending once again into the sky. In this way, God made His choice known before everyone. Joseph was the one appointed to care for the Virgin Mary and accompany her into the next chapter of her life. At that time, Jewish marriage took place in 2 stages. The first stage was betrothal. But Jewish betrothal was very different from what we think of as an engagement today. It was a legally binding covenant. The bride moved into her betrothed's household, came under his protection, shared in the responsibilities of the home, and enjoyed all the legal rights of a wife. Yet the marriage itself had not been consummated. That period usually lasted about 1 year. Afterward, a public celebration formally completed the marriage. This explains why the Gospels refer to Mary as Joseph's wife, even though the marriage had not yet been fully completed according to Jewish custom. As for Joseph the carpenter, history has preserved far less about him than he truly deserves. Despite the extraordinary role he fulfilled, very little historical information about him has survived. Interestingly, Joseph initially hesitated to accept this responsibility, not because he rejected Mary, but because he considered himself unworthy. He was already an elderly man, well over 90 years old. He said to himself, "How can I be responsible for a young girl in the prime of her youth?" On top of that, Joseph was a simple carpenter. In those days, carpentry was not considered a prestigious profession. Those who practiced it lived modestly, earning just enough to meet their daily needs. Yet despite all these reasons, Joseph accepted God's will. He took Mary into his care, fully aware of her purity and of her desire to remain a virgin. He thanked God for entrusting him with such an extraordinary responsibility. But only a few months later, he found himself facing something he could never have imagined. He saw that Mary was with child. Imagine the struggle within his heart. The young woman whose purity was beyond question was now pregnant. How could this be? What was Joseph supposed to do? Should he believe what his eyes were telling him, or trust everything he knew about Mary's holiness? Countless questions filled the heart of this righteous man. The answer awaits us in the next episode. Join us as we continue the journey of the Mother of Light, the Blessed Virgin Mary. May her blessings and intercessions be with us all. Amen.